If you can't read this, then you shouldn't be on YouTube. In 2009, PopCap Games released Plants vs. Zombies. The game was extremely popular, spawning a sequel. That's right, a sequel, and multiple spin-offs. The first was some random Facebook game that no one remembers, and eventually in 2014, Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare was unleashed upon the world. Before I get to that wonderful mess, I want to talk about the original wonderful mess. Plants vs. Zombies is a tower defense game with a simple, yet ludicrous premise. The goal of the game is to protect your house from the undead with weaponized plants. Combine this with a goofy, bubbly art style and an absolute banger of a soundtrack, and you have a recipe for success. The game was adored by many, and when something is good, people want more of it. As I said earlier, they made a Facebook game that existed. After this, PopCap, the studio that was responsible for the game, was bought out by EA. Under the rule of EA, PopCap made Plants vs. Zombies 2 in 2013, and a year later, that's right, Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare was finally released. The game was truly something different, turning away from its tower defense roots and plopping the game into a third-person perspective. This was a weird idea. Plants vs. Zombies worked perfectly in tandem with the tower defense genre, and turning it into a third-person shooter seemed absolutely ridiculous. However, the game broke all expectations. Not only did the developers manage to make PvZ work as a shooter, they made it fun as well. In this video, I want to look at the game properly and analyze how and why the game is so fun, and maybe sprinkle in some of my opinions. I've devised the video into different segments, each one taking a hard look at a certain aspect of the game. For those who haven't played the game or those who need a refresher, Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare is a multiplayer class-based shooter, with each team having 4 distinct classes and many different variations of them. There are many modes including 4-player co-op, team deathmatch, gardens and graveyards, and much more. That's pretty much the whole idea, and now I can actually get into the nitty-gritty of the game. It might be weird to talk about visuals before gameplay, but hear me out. I think the visuals play a significant part in the experience. The graphics hold up pretty well, but I'm here to talk about what exactly is on the screen while you play. If you look at the pictures I'm showing you on the screen, you can see that is absolute madness. Now I'm probably cherry-picked here, but I think you get the idea. The entire idea of Plants vs. Zombies is that everything is crazy. There's a character called Crazy Dave, there's a crazy difficulty in the Garden Ops mode. Heck, just look at the screenshots again, I don't need to tell you anymore. The whole game revolves around absurdity and insanity, and the visuals show you all of that. It does wonders for immersing you into the world, even if the world is one where plants try to protect taco carts from zombies. Okay, this is really short, but I just still wanted to talk about this. When you put the audio setting on Zombox, it is the best way to play the game, no doubt. Everything is just put up to the max, and it's just so batshit insane. Hands down the best audio setting in any video game. Not that anyone ranks audio settings, but if there was an award, well. Also, the music is there, I guess. The soundtrack sounds a bit buzzy, and there aren't many tracks either, so you're gonna start hearing the same few songs over and over. They get old pretty quickly compared to Laura Shigihara's timeless score. Gameplay is the most important aspect of a video game. If you can't hook someone within 30 seconds of your game, you've already failed. Thankfully, Garden Warfare has some of the most unique gameplay out of any shooter on the market. First of all, it takes a class-based approach. Now this isn't new. Team Fortress 2, Overwatch, and Destiny 2 are also immensely popular class-based shooters, but Garden Warfare takes a different approach. There are 8 classes, 4 for each side. For the plants you have the pea shooter, chomper, sunflower, and cactus, and the zombies have the foot soldier, engineer, scientist, and all-star. Give me a break, it's really hard to find actual transparent images. Each class has a purpose. For example, the sunflower is meant to be a healer, reviving vanquished plants and healing those who have taken damage. On the other side, the cactus is meant to stay back and take out zombies from afar. Engineers can build teleporters and turrets to assist their team, and scientists can pick off enemies at close range. Nearly every playstyle is available in Garden Warfare, but no one cares about that boring societal bullshit, okay? How good is the shooting? For you American patriots, I can safely say that Garden Warfare has some of the best gunplay out of any shooter. When you get a hit on an enemy, you can really feel it. Every hit feels earned and is satisfying. On top of that, when you unlock a new class, it gives you a new weapon to toy around with. The foot soldier usually has an assault rifle, but swap to the camo ranger and now you can snipe from farther distances. Usually, the pea shooter has a more splash damage focused weapon, but swap to Agent P and now you get awarded for precision. As I said, every class has a purpose and their abilities can be taken advantage of. Speaking of abilities, the abilities. Now in most shooters, abilities just amount to a grenade or a throwing knife, but in Garden Warfare, the abilities not only complement the class, but force you to think as well. Oh shit. Take Chomper's Burrow ability. It allows you to go into the ground and vanquish a zombie from below. However, it takes some time to swallow a zombie before you can start attacking again. So, you have to strategize. Find a zombie that strays away from the crowd, so you can take them out without worry of dying 2 seconds later. Another good example, the Scientist Warp. Now with the base warp, you get 2 charges before you have to recharge them again. Because the Scientist is so good at close range, you can take advantage of this by warping towards a plant, taking them out with your weapon, and warping away before you get killed by any surrounding plants. The abilities allow for these great gameplay moments where you really have to think about how you use them before you score some points. This is just in the PvP, however. How does the co-op feel? The co-op in this game is called Garden Ops. The mode revolves around protecting a garden from hordes of zombies. Now it may seem like another Protect the Thing mode, but Garden Ops has a few key differences that makes it stand out from other modes similar to it. The game mode is actually pretty simple, so let me explain. You can play Garden Ops with up to 4 players. In this mode, you will have to protect your garden from waves of zombies, 10 in total. There's a health bar above the garden, and when zombies hoard it, the health bar will go down. Once the health bar goes all the way down, it's game over. Now I can explain the things that make it different. Around the garden, there are many pots where you can plant smaller plants to help you against the zombie horde. You can plant healing flowers, which are self-explanatory, mini pea shooters, snapdragons, which set close by enemies on fire, and many more. This allows for some strategic thinking. There are only so many pots, and if the potted plant dies, you can't plant another in its place until the next round. You really have to think about which plants you place where, and if those plants will really be effective in that position. On top of that, on the 5th and 10th round, you will have to spin the Wheel of Doom, which can either give you money, boss fights, or tougher enemies. The boss fights are extremely difficult. They can spawn more zombies to assist them, use projectiles, freeze you, and more. You have to defeat them on top of the wave of zombies as well, meaning you have to constantly switch between damaging the boss and crowd control. There is also a small chance that there will be a special wave, in which the regular zombies will be replaced with a different variant. It can just be one of the many variants of the zombie classes from the multiplayer, or sometimes it can just be a basic newspaper or bucket zombie. Once you complete the 10 waves, it isn't over. You have to make it to the landing zone so Crazy Dave can pick you up and you can leave. This is by far one of the most tense moments in any video game, especially if you're playing on crazy difficulty. It's basically a final stand in which you will have to stay on a circle and push back the zombies. It's extremely tense and leaves you on the edge of your seat once you get there. Overall, Garden Ops is a great co-op experience. If I had to change something about it, it would definitely be the boss's health. I've seen kitchen sponges less spongy than these bosses. You can pour thousands of plant-based projectiles into a boss and it'll only be at a third of its original health.
Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching,
okay, this was inevitable. Since the game was published by EA, the first question asked about the game is, how bad are the microtransactions? Thankfully, the microtransactions are virtually non-existent. The only currency is PvZ coins, which can be earned by just playing the game. You can pay to get some extra coins, but it's totally optional. I actually got every single character and a buttload of cosmetics without spending a single dime. The best thing about it is that if you do better in a match, you get more coins. Definitely the least greedy I've seen EA in a video game. Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare is one of the most memorable, fun, and unique shooters out there. It has a plethora of multiplayer modes and an excellent co-op. The microtransactions don't overpower everything else, and the visuals complement the gameplay. I can safely say that this is one of my favorite games of all time. Anyways, that was just my little video on Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare. I'll see you again once I make another video like this.